Let's talk about making your file look nice. When you first open up the file, you want to go ahead and add a title. So you're going to go here under Format and then Style and click on Title. You can use any of these other subdivisions as well. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with Title and something like Mathematica 1. And you need to have your name. If you're working in a pair, then both of the pair's names. You could do a title. They used to have subtitle. Let's just do chapter and put my name right there. And then for each new problem, I want you to go ahead and start a new section. Go ahead and use the actual section code that delimits it a little bit better by putting the line across everything. So for instance, problem 1, or if this is for the introductory Mathematica assignment, then video, whichever order you're watching these in. I'll try to give an ordering in the first assignment itself, but let's say that this is video 10. It won't be, but go ahead and do that. And then inside of that, so to get down here, I'm either just pushing the down arrow, or you can move and it's up here, just click when you see the cursor go horizontal like that, and you'll be ready to start a new input cell. Now, within each problem, if there are multiple parts, so if you want part A of a certain problem, then you can go under, again, Format, and then say maybe like subsection. And you could do something like part A, or even just put A, maybe capitalize the P too, we'll just put A like that. So you want to format your file nicely, make it easy for the grader to see and follow through what you're doing with each problem. If you don't have these sorts of divisions in there, then I will take off points. You don't need these exact ones. If you use chapter for your title and something else for your name, that's fine. Or if you put your name up here in the title field as well, that's okay. But there needs to be some sort of section, again, one of Mathematica's built-in formatting subdivisions for your divisions in the file. And then at the beginning of each problem, so right here, before I start part A, I click on that, and we're going to put a clear command. And it's going to be the clear, and then we'll have in quotes here, just regular double quotes, surround the whole thing in that, global, and then a back tick. Oops, that's not a tilde. Now when I hit shift, I got tilde. So it's the key where you see the tilde. It should be just to the left of the one key. You're just going to hit that, and then you'll put an asterisk. So clear global, again with the quotation marks around everything inside of these brackets here, and then the back tick and the asterisk coming right after the global. Now, when you hit Shift-Enter there to execute that command, you're not going to see anything. It's not going to give you any output. But what that's going to do is it's going to clear out any variable names that you already have defined. And this is useful when you're moving between different problems. If you had a function named f of x in problem 1, and you have another function defined and given it the name f of x in problem 2, then it's going to, that clear global will cause Mathematica to forget that previous definition. You'll still have the output from the previous problem, but it's going to forget that f of x was defined that way, and then you can redefine it. Now, you can just redefine a function name, that's fine. Usually, it will go ahead and save that new assignment instead, but clearing it out makes sure that it's wiped out any previous variable names so that you don't have to remember to change those. You can clear individual variables. So let's say I say x equals 1, Shift-Enter, and then I type x again, Shift-Enter, it's stored that as 1, I'm getting 1 as the output. If I say clear, if I can type it correctly, clear x, it's going to clear out x, and now if I type x and hit Shift-Enter, then it just returns x again. So it's forgotten that x was defined to be 1 up here. Now, you can clear out individual variable names. There are some problems where you might have to do that. That's going to be relatively uncommon though. Typically just one clear global at the beginning, and then you can use different names for different variables. And sometimes you may have to clear an individual variable in the middle of a file name, but that's very uncommon. Now, one thing I want to emphasize is that Mathematica is not a programming language in the same way that you may see in your comp sci Programming 140 or Computer 141 programming class that many of you are probably taking. It's not the same as C++, Java, any of those other computer programming languages, in that you're not going to be just typing all these input commands, x equals 1, and then I'm just hitting enter there to get a new line, like y equals 2, and 1 plus 2, and whatever else you want to put in there, and then hitting shift enter and getting all of those outputs. So there are going to be situations where you'll have multiple input lines or multiple commands in a single input cell, which is what we have right here. I'll go ahead and highlight that. So this input number 6 with all these 3 in it, and then it's giving me these different outputs for each of those input lines. There are occasions where you'll have multiple input commands in a single cell, but typically I want you to start a new line for each of these. So instead of the way that I've done it here, you would have the y equals 2 and the 1 plus 2 as separate input lines. So we've got the x equals 1, we'll evaluate that. Y equals 2, shift enter to evaluate that. 1 plus 2, shift enter to evaluate that. So it's easier to see which output corresponds to a given input. So again, Mathematica is not a programming language in the same way that C++, Java, whatever you're programming in, is. And you have these input commands, but again, we're displaying them inside of this larger file. So you've got this these formatting subdivisions, which you wouldn't have in a regular programming file. You can insert text comments in Mathematica. You can also comment out a command like you can in a programming language. So to insert a text comment, you don't want to just start typing, this is a text comment, and you'll see even in this version of Mathematica, it's asking, do you want to convert this to a text cell? And you should click on that and say yes. If I don't, and then just leave that as an input cell and hit shift enter, or if I go to evaluate your file, you'll notice it's giving this error message right here. I didn't like the period as much. If I just type this is a text comment, then notice that it's rearranging those words so that they're in alphabetical order. It thinks this is input. It thinks that this and the word is and the word a and the word text and the word comment are all different variable names that you're typing into Mathematica. So you don't want to do that. Don't format them like this. If you do that, and notice it's now complaining about the double dash, probably the exclamation points. If you do have something that's a command that's not working out, you're not sure what to do with it, then you can comment out a command by doing a left parentheses, asterisk, and then on the other side, you can do asterisk right parentheses, and that will comment out everything inside of that. Now, that is not the proper way to format a text cell comment. So if I want you to add some explanation for an answer, this is not the way that you should do that. The way that you want to do that is either when you start typing, tell it you want to convert to a text cell, or the better way is probably just go ahead and start with a text cell automatically. Go up here under format, and then you'll click on text. Notice that there are keyboard shortcuts for all these, so you could just hit Alt 7, click on text, and now you can see that when we start typing, we get nicely formatted text. If I hit shift enter, it doesn't do anything, it just inserts a new line there. When you go to execute the file, it's not going to give you that weird gibberish output like we had from before. So make sure that you have your comments in there correctly. Again, also make sure that you're giving the proper subdivisions. Put your clear global at the beginning of every problem. You don't have to do it at the beginning of every part unless I mention that in the instructions. Different parts of the same problem are fine, but a clear global before every new problem. So for instance, here, let's say that's video 10, and I want a new section, and we go on to a problem 2. And then at the beginning of that one, I'm going to have my clear global. And then when I execute that, I don't see anything, but then notice up here that the color changed from black to blue. So if you see any names in blue in Mathematica, that means that it's treating it as a variable name, but it doesn't know what it's defined as yet. Whereas if I execute this line, x equals 1, then it changes to black. But when I evaluate your file, let's go up here, I'll just click on let's actually delete the output first. There we go, so I can't see any of the output. When I evaluate your file, when I'm grading it, I'm going to click on Evaluation, Evaluate Notebook. It's going to go through and runs all these commands from top to bottom. So it's still giving the output from these, even though I've then wiped out the definition for the next problem. But I can still see the output because it knew what they were when it was running them that time through. So again, have your file formatted nicely. If you want more help with the formatting instructions, go to my Mathematica page, scroll down, and there should be a formatting file posted there. So there's this. This video that I have linked here will be replaced with the one that I'm currently recording. But here are the formatting guidelines in a Mathematica file. I've gone through in there and illustrated all the different subsections, sectioning, that sort of thing. It may look a little bit different because it was created originally in an earlier version of Mathematica, but it should still translate all those over into the new coloring scheme. So you can take a look at that, or again, you can go through and just manually add everything. You're welcome to download that file and then modify it for your particular assignment. So go through, add your name in, change the headings and all that. If you have any question on formatting your file, feel free to come by and see me during office hours, talk to me after class. I can take a quick look at it and make sure everything looks okay.